welcome back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show. And Captain James Moore from the Eddy County Sheriff's Office is with us this morning. If I can talk, good morning.
Making fun of Biden is getting to you.
Oh, I tell you what. Well, that's not hard to do. he just has to pull up some of his speech. There was another thing on the Babylon Bee. Mitch McConnell says that the Republican response to the State of the Union will be to just play the State of the Union speech. That'll be their response. No, it's just been kind of crazy. Internet technology has been challenging the last few days. And Lana said, come home early, because I was out covering the election on Tuesday. I've got baseball today, tomorrow, and Saturday. Saturday I have baseball and basketball. And so I said, just come home. We'll sit down. And so she went to bed, and I was watching something on the... I know what I was watching. I was watching Junkyard Digs. Mm-hmm. They had a video. They repackaged a video from a year ago, or a year and a half ago, where he and the Thunderhead 289 guy went to some rural place in Iowa and resurrected a 1970 Plymouth satellite with the 318 V8 and all the trees they had to cut down to get it out of the woods. Anyway, I stopped that video and realized there was an issue with radio stations, and so I had to go out and fix that last night. And then this morning there was something I was supposed to do that I forgot to do that I didn't do, and
you forgot to cut spending?
I forgot to cut spending, that's right.
Good thing you were reminded.
Yeah, it's crazy. So anyway, so this morning, just trying to get everything squared away. I introduced Amy McVeigh-Tejas for the interview that we did, saying she was with the Historical Society, which she is, but she was on there to talk about Leadership Roswell. So I goofed there.
Multiple hats,
but you're here, so we're glad. How's things going at the Sheriff's Department?
Well, we're doing pretty good. We were very fortunate that the commission gave us 6 new positions for deputies, and we're trying to fill those positions right now with qualified applicants. That's a challenge. In today's climate, there's a lot of people that really don't choose this career field. I don't know why.
It's because they watch the news.
Yeah.
But and what you see in the news as far as the anti-police or anti-law enforcement attitudes or things, you don't see a lot of that around here.
No, we're really fortunate. It's like yesterday I was at an academy recruiting, and I told the cadets there that, in Eddy County, we're very fortunate that people like us, and they support us, and we have the community backing. When we drive down the road, they wave at us and use all their fingers.
They're not just pointing in some direction.
So, yeah, but it's the truth. We have a really good community, and we have really strong community backing, and it would be very difficult to do this without it.
Yeah. 6 officers. Is that a lot at one time to try to add? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We have a few, but we've also got some retirements coming up. So we have some in the pipe right now that would have backfilled where those retirements were coming in, and now we added 6 more on top of it. It just creates a challenge in trying to find qualified applicants.
Mm-hmm. Do applicants come from around this area, from around New Mexico, West Texas?
We have a little bit of all of it. We have right now we have an applicant from El Paso, 2 applicants from El Paso. We have 1 from Artesia. We have a couple of applicants that are out of Silver City, New Mexico. So they're applicants. It doesn't mean they're accepted yet. We have to do a rigorous background investigation and so forth. But
do they have to have prior law enforcement experience?
No, we're actually hiring uncertified, which we don't normally do.
Okay. So if you're just interested in...
Yes, if you're 21 years of age, no felony convictions, and you want an exciting career in law enforcement, come see us. Give us a call.
Right. Is the need for you mentioned the retirements coming up, but is there a lot more crime in Eddy County, or just a lot more territory, or are you just trying to get to...
We're trying to keep up with the population. We had that massive population increase that showed on the census, But we also, as everybody knows, we have a massive population increase that did not show on the census. And with more people, it just creates more need for law enforcement activity. Everything from driving to everybody has little problems, and the more people you have, the more problems show up.
Mm-hmm. And I know in the past, the sheriff has talked about this in the past too. There's been the fentanyl, the drugs that have been coming through
Yes.
Eddy County. Is that continuing?
Yes.
Is it accelerating, or what are you seeing in that regard?
Well, if we're catching it, that means it's accelerating. We only catch a small percentage of it. I mean, the Drug Task Force does a really good job, and they have made great headway. But as we all know, once one person gets taken out, two more may step in to take their place.
So that's another concern. What about just property theft, crime like that? What are you seeing out in Eddy County?
We do have some property theft. We've had some copper theft because of the price of scrap. Once you see the economy turn like it has, the price of scrap metals usually go up when the price of oil usually goes up. I don't know why, but they kind of hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
And as the price of copper has gone up, there's been some copper wire theft and things to that nature.
Yeah, something to keep an eye on. I know the price of fuel has gone up. I just saw I have a diesel pickup truck. Did you see diesel this morning in Artesia?
No, I did not see it this morning.
408 or 409, I think, is what I saw last
Remember,
night.
you need to cut expenses.
That's what the president said. But I got to go to Hobbs to do baseball, Now I know why Jovi wants to ride with me. Because of how expensive fuel is right now. It's crazy. Recently, the county commission passed a illegal dumping ordinance. Has that ordinance made its way to the sheriff's department, and are the sheriff's deputies going to be any part of
Yes, we do
that
enforce
process?
county ordinance. A lot of that will come off of code enforcement, but we still do enforce county ordinance. It's normally a citation that goes through the magistrate court.
Okay. Do you have to catch the people in the act, or will people be able to phone in and say, hey, somebody came out here and dumped a bunch of stuff on my property illegally?
Well, if you catch someone in the act, obviously it's an immediate citation or arrest.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't catch them in the act, then an investigation has to take place, and then there has to be probable cause to determine who dumped that. And then if there is, then yes, a warrant can be issued.
Okay. So that, being it's a county ordinance, does that investigative task...
It falls on us.
It falls on the...
Yes, because your city officers and such, they're not going to do county ordinance.
Okay. Another reason why we need some more sheriff's deputies. They're going to be looking at illegal dumping. But you and the sheriff's department deputies are out and about. I mean, how widespread is the illegal dumping problem in Eddy County that you've observed?
Well, it's definitely a problem. Like if you go down Atoka Road, I don't know why Atoka Road is a magnet for dumping. You'll see stuff there that wasn't there a couple days before, and there are certain areas, and a lot of it is on private property where people go and they find these pits and they just go back there and dump it. Car Ranch Road is one of those where they just go dump stuff, and tires is a big problem.
Yeah.
So.
And I know the county at their stations, their dumpster stations, they accept tires
Right.
now.
Yes, they used to not accept tires, but they do, and I don't know why you wouldn't just take them there, but
People are busy. They're busy.
Yes.
Is what they are. They're extremely busy.
it seems to me it's a lot harder to drive all the way out to Car Ranch Road and dump your tires than to drive just right here outside of
I'm kind of like you. I'm like, that doesn't make sense, but people will do that. I don't know. Something else to look forward to, I guess, coming up next month is when the governor wants all the marijuana stuff sales to start kicking in. And I know that's been a challenge for law enforcement across New Mexico to be prepared for what can and cannot be enforced and so forth. What kind of bring us up to date on what the Eddy County Sheriff's Department, what you're ready for in that regard?
Well, the drug task force, if there is going to be someone who has a grower's license and such like that, the drug task force will review their applications and that to make sure their paperwork is in order. As far as a street level, is anything over 2 ounces is going to be illegal.
Okay.
So there's really not much other than to make sure that our folks understand that if you catch marijuana, you're going to have to make sure it's above 2 ounces before you can take criminal action.
Okay.
So
that's the major change with
yes, because it used to be obviously possession was illegal, but anything over an ounce was a felony, and they've changed that now.
Okay. So at any point, is it a felony, or does it have to be over 2 ounces to be a felony, or has that changed?
Yes, it will become a felony, but you have to be over 2 ounces.
Over 2 ounces.
Yes.
Okay. And it's interesting because it's still federally
Yes, illegal.
illegal. So that doesn't get confusing at all, does it?
No. It's always been difficult to get the feds to touch marijuana. I believe you have to get over, I think it's 100 pounds before the feds would even get involved to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they know that. So whenever they move marijuana, they always keep it at right under the threshold.
Yeah. It's amazing how that happens.
Yeah.
It's kind of like in areas of the state and the country where they've stopped prosecuting crimes below a certain dollar amount.
Right.
It's amazing how the crime seems to rise up to just under that dollar amount.
Right.
So
now it was still a crime, but it just wouldn't. The federal government wouldn't get involved.
right, as far as the marijuana
Right.
Is concerned, but we don't have those types of. Do we have those kinds of changes as
No,
far as
it's
the
still, if
DAs and prosecution in this part of the state compared
If
to
you go and shoplift, it's still a crime, even if it's $1.
in Eddy County?
Yes.
Good.
In New Mexico.
Yeah, but then some places, I guess, don't enforce it.
Right. Now, that would be a discretion that the agency would take.
Mm-hmm. So I think in Albuquerque, they've kind of gotten into that situation there. But
Yeah, they won't even respond.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. But in Eddy County, is that?
We respond.
Yeah.
We respond. We try to respond. Our response may not be as fast as some people like. You know, we have almost 5,000 square miles we're covering, and we try to get there as timely as we can. Our response may not be like a city would, because, you know, when I worked for the city, I could be almost anywhere in 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, now I can't, but that was a long time ago.
That's true. That's true.
But yes,
It's up to 5 minutes now.
right. But if there is a crime, we will do our due diligence to make sure that we do our part to prosecute the crime.
Yeah. Does the sheriff's department do the sobriety checkpoints, or is that state police?
No, we do them.
You do them?
Well, yes, we do them. We haven't done them. They kind of went away with the Fauci disease. And so I don't know if I'm not part of the grant process, so I don't know
Right.
if that money has been brought back for the checkpoints.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I know that it will come back.
And for those, because whenever you've worked them, you've always see headlights turn around when people realize what's going on at the checkpoints. And now I guess with social media, people just start spreading the word about the checkpoints.
But I'm okay with that, because you shouldn't be driving if you're intoxicated. And if someone gets on social media and says, hey, because we advertise our checkpoints.
Mm-hmm.
So they're advertising for us. So if they say, hey, there's a checkpoint, don't drive drunk, and they stay home or stay where they're at drunk, I think we've accomplished our task.
They sober up when they do that.
Yes.
As far as the paperwork that is checked at a checkpoint, it's license, registration,
And insurance.
and insurance.
Our checkpoints are that way. Some checkpoints, they only just check the driver's license. Some checkpoints, they don't even check any documentation. Like in Albuquerque, when they do a checkpoint,
Mm-hmm.
they don't even check any documentation, at least the ones that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
because if they did that, traffic would be so backed up in Albuquerque, it would cause its own problems.
Sure.
And
so they're just looking for the intoxicated or
right.
drivers.
And it's the reason why we check documents is because the process of a person getting their documents out helps us to determine if they are inebriated.
Mm-hmm. So in our case, when we had our dogs, that was the only thing that we were concerned about, because the dogs would just not shut up. So you slow down, you roll down the window, and the dogs are just going, "Rah, rah, 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 rah," going crazy back there. I'm sure you've seen some interesting
yes.
things like that that happen. That's the only thing we're embarrassed about. But that's not a hard thing for folks to do, is just to make sure you have those documents in the vehicle.
Right. And when you come up to a checkpoint, checkpoints are no tolerance, because everybody has to be treated exactly the same. So if you have a discrepancy, you will receive a citation.
Mm-hmm. So just get your paperwork.
Have your paperwork with you.
Yeah. And
have your seatbelt on.
Oh yeah, that's right. Have your seatbelt on.
Have your seatbelt on. Don't be intoxicated or inebriated.
Well, that's a good thing. How many times have you seen when you're driving and you come up with somebody and you see somebody, grabbing the seatbelt?
It happens.
So I guess that's another way that you're just helping to encourage people to be safe.
Yes.
The other thing, I don't know if that irritates law enforcement or not, is you'll be driving down the road and you'll see headlights flashing, meaning that there's somebody up ahead.
That doesn't irritate me at all.
Mm-hmm.
The main goal is to slow people down. If that slows people down, then we're doing our job.
Yeah. Now, you do make sure and go after Texans over anybody else, right? No. I'm just kidding about that. Where I grew up, we didn't like the people from Illinois. So whenever we saw somebody from Illinois stopped, we were like, yes. Got that one. So it is kind of crazy. How's the technology? I know the body cams was a big issue last year because the state said, you got to do it. Has that all been implemented? That seems to be working as well as can be expected.
Right. We already had it in play. The only thing that we had to adjust was, we really didn't have anything to adjust because we kept our video for up to a year. The state requires 120 days. So now we may change, because as we get bigger, the more data comes in. So we may end up adjusting that to where at 120 days we're going to purge the system.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if something is a crime or evidence, obviously it will not be purged. But if someone goes up and someone flags them down at Allsups and asks for directions to, where's First and Main, obviously we don't need to keep that for years.
Mm-hmm.
We are looking at, because our system that we have, our contract is coming up, and it's going to be a substantial cost to maintain that contract, software agreements and all that. I'm sure you're familiar with all that.
Oh, yeah.
So we're looking at actually changing what we're doing to a new system that has quite a bit of technology upgrade, and I've been wanting for a very long time what they call license plate readers that go in the car that automatically, like if you take a report and you enter let's say your car is stolen, we enter your license plate into our system. Now this goes off of our system. It doesn't go off of NCIC.
Okay.
And these systems are, anyone who has this program, all your systems are linked together. So if someone stole your car here and went to Carlsbad and driving along, and all of a sudden that plate, it automatically reads that plate and it'll pop up and say, hey, this might be stolen.
Okay.
And it's pretty neat. I've been wanting that for a very long time. It's just been way too expensive and out of reach and you have to have a lot of people participate in the program to make it work. Well, that database has largely grown,
mm-hmm.
and this new camera system we're looking at has that automatically built in.
Okay. Because it's probably impossible for law enforcement officers to remember every
Well, especially
stolen vehicle
but
report,
If someone in Colorado Springs has a stolen car and it's driving through Artesia and one of our units goes by and they participate in this program, it'll pop up, hey, this might be stolen.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty amazing how the technology is really...
It's kind of scary, but it's also pretty neat.
So the scanning of the plates, that data doesn't go anywhere. It's just looking at the plate, comparing it to the database,
right? And
then it's not recording or not tracking folks or anything like that.
And what it'll do is it'll tell you this is possibly stolen.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have to start conducting your investigation yourself, because there could be a time where the car was actually recovered, released back to the owner, and for some reason it didn't come out of the system. So you would have to then run it through NCIC, and then that will tell you whether it is actually stolen or not.
Okay. Or it could misread the plate.
Right.
Plate could be dirty. It could be something that isn't quite...
so it's just a tool. It is not necessarily, we're not going to, all of a sudden it pops up, they're not just going to be stopping everybody.
Mm-hmm. But I think it's great. As having been involved in something that was stolen from Artesia and taken to Carlsbad, a vehicle, having that technology available for law enforcement, I think, would be a very valuable tool.
Right. And usually when something happens, it's a white pickup.
It's always
we get a call. Oh, there was a white pickup.
Yeah, which one of
you
the...
really narrowed that down for me. Thank you.
White pickup with a headache rack.
Yeah.
Okay.
And pickups, vehicles are basically built in wind tunnels nowadays, so they look very, very similar, especially at a distance.
Okay.
It's difficult, especially cars. Cars are really difficult. Unless you really are on top of your game and know every model of car. Years ago, a Buick versus a Ford LTD were completely different cars, and you could spot it a mile away.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Is that a Hyundai or is that a Toyota?
Right.
Or is that a Range Rover or a Ford?
And all their colors are similar nowadays.
Yeah.
You don't have any two-tones. Everything's just so similar.
Yeah.
It can be difficult.
A white pickup. That's probably the most common vehicle in Eddy County right now. So it's a white pickup with a black bumper.
Yeah.
It's got oil field equipment in the back.
Right.
You're still not helping. So what would help, I guess, like you say,
The license plate number, obviously. We get calls, and I understand people. We ask people to call us, and I'm not making fun of any of that.
Sure.
People, they do their best, and we do our best to find it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny. You get the call for the white pickup, a speeding vehicle, and it's a white pickup. I'm not going to go out and stop every white pickup. So
you can't.
No, you can't. And but we try. We try to find the vehicle, and it's just when you get that call, you're like, okay. I'll do what I can.
Yeah. So if it is a white pickup, be a little bit more specific.
If you can.
If there's a logo, if there's a company name
License
on
plate
there,
number.
license plate number, something to help narrow it down, as opposed to the 50% of all vehicles on the road in Eddy County. I'm going to start doing that now as I drive around. I'm going to see how many white pickups I count. So, well, good. Was there anything else we need to cover today? We talked about applying for open positions, and we talked about some of the new technology, some of the other things you're working on. Is there anything else we need to cover today?
No, we've got some community involvement stuff coming up.
Okay.
Like a child seat thing in Carlsbad. I don't remember the dates. If you want to go to the sheriff's Facebook page or what have you, or our website, some of this stuff is listed there. I would encourage you to do that. And just as spring is in the air, don't let it get to your head.
That's right. And we spring forward next weekend.
Right.
Not this weekend, but next weekend. So I've been enjoying the early morning light.
Yes.
That's going to be gone here for a few weeks.
I wish they would just do away with all that.
We kind of came up with the idea, let's go half an hour. We'll just split it half an hour and do that. And I found Newfoundland does that. So if you ask Siri or whatever what time it is in Newfoundland, it's however many hours ahead plus 30 minutes. So, well, maybe we could join Newfoundland, you know.
That sounds complicated.
Be off. You know, in Texas, it'll be 4 o'clock. In Arizona, it'll be 3 o'clock. And in Artesia, it'll be 2:30.
What's interesting is the time shift takes place at 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, I had made an arrest. The crime took place at 1:30. And then when I caught them, the time had fallen back, and I made the arrest at 1 o'clock. So it looks like you arrested them before the crime.
This is not Minority Report. You know, you are not Tom Cruise.
Yes.
Isn't that an interesting concept in that movie? I'm sure you've seen that movie.
Yes.
Isn't that an interesting concept? Could you actually predict or identify somebody who's going to commit a crime before they commit the crime with any accuracy at all?
Well, if you think about it, they're trying to do that now with all these bans and things that they come out with.
Oh, yeah. There's certain...
That's basically the same thing.
Yeah. But it's not 3 people sitting in milk, you know, thinking about what it is, and then up comes a wooden ball that tells you. If people haven't seen the movie, you need to see the movie. It's not a bad movie. It's a pretty good sci-fi movie. I think Steven Spielberg had something to do with it, and Tom Cruise is in it, and some of its predictions of what things are going to be like in the future are kind of cool to think about too. Talking cereal boxes, you know. Now the lights that come on when you walk in the door and everything, we have that now.
We have that.
We have that, but the talking cereal boxes, I don't think we're quite there yet. So, anyway, Captain Moore, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate you.
Well, thanks for having us.
All right, we're going to take a break.